deadly virus began spreading quickly across the state of Missouri, turning citizens into mindless zombies. The governor's office attempted to reassure the public that the situation was under control, unaware of the danger that was growing around them. Jamie, not yet aware of the outbreak, tried calling her father who lived in Missouri, but no one answered. Years earlier, a heated argument with him about her marriage had led her to leave home, and that departure ended up being the last time she ever saw him. This is where we meet Alex, Jamie's girlfriend. Their relationship had been strained for some time, and in an effort to mend things, Alex suggested taking a trip to Missouri. As they prepared for their journey, the radio reported updates on the virus. The number of infected continued climbing every single day, but Alex brushed it aside, unwilling to let fear interrupt her plan. They traveled downstream in a small boat, passing through landscapes Jamie hadn't seen in years. It was the closest she had been to her hometown in a long time. She missed her father deeply, but lingering resentment kept her from fully softening toward him. Late that night, Jamie sat by the river and recalled the first time she met Alex. Despite not having her father's approval, Jamie built a life with Alex and found happiness. Until tragedy changed everything. Their daughter fell ill and passed away, a loss that cracked Jamie's heart wide open. Since then, their relationship had slowly fallen apart. Days of travel didn't heal their wounds. Jamie's sharp and cold words wounded Alex deeply, who eventually snapped in anger. Alex stood up in the boat, and in that split second, the boat overturned and both women fell into the river. Alex's leg got caught in a tree branch, and though she managed to free herself, the damage was severe, and without help, she would bleed to death. Jamie suddenly spotted a man approaching from a distance and felt a spark of hope. But just then, a red pickup truck pulled over. The driver stepped out, raised his gun, and shot the staggering figure dead. Then, without hesitation, he turned his weapon on Jamie and Alex. Jamie, panicked and running on pure adrenaline, lifted Alex onto her shoulders and fled until they reached an RV parked nearby. Jamie opened the door, praying to find help, only to recoil in horror as a corpse tumbled into view. Before they could process it, the man with gun had caught up to them. As Jamie begged him to spare them, another man named John suddenly appeared. He was the leader of a nearby survivor group and also happened to be a longtime friend of Jamie's father. Alongside John was Bernie, who nearly told Jamie the truth, that her father had already died. But John quickly stopped him. Now wasn't the time, and the priority was saving Alex. Jamie begged John to take them to a hospital, but he refused immediately since the hospitals had become death traps filled with the infected zombies. Instead, he brought them to a veterinary clinic in town. While there, Jamie overheard John and Bernie quietly planning to take all the medicine from the clinic. John then asked Louis, the veterinarian, to join their survivor group, but Louis stubbornly refused. He wanted to stay home, even if it meant facing death. As Alex was being lifted into John's truck, Bernie spotted one of the infected and raised his rifle. John tried to stop him, but the gun fired anyway, echoing into the night and attracting a swarm of zombies right toward them. Jamie didn't think about herself. She rushed to shield Alex, only to freeze when a snarling zombie lunged at them and grabbed Alex's hand. At the last moment, a bullet pierced the creature's skull. John had returned in time, saving them once again. Not long after they fled the town, the National Guard arrived. Their leader was a man named Sterling, and under his command, soldiers raided every store in the area, taking food, weapons, and supplies. With all the medicine already seized by John's people, Louis the veterinarian was no longer of value to them. The next morning, John led Jamie and the others back to their base, a massive old warehouse that had once belonged to Jamie's father. After settling Alex down inside, Jamie wandered off in search of John. That's when she found her father's lifeless body. Years of grief and guilt bubbled up, and Jamie finally gathered the courage to speak the words she had been holding in for so long. She had imagined this reunion countless times, rehearsing what she would say if she ever saw him again. Now she was talking to a man who could no longer hear her. Meanwhile, Alex was fighting her own horror. On the hand where the zombie had grabbed her, strange wounds had begun to spread. Alex wanted to tell John and the others, but Jamie stopped her, knowing what fate awaited anyone who confessed to being bitten. That night, the survivors held a feast in the warehouse. After the meal, John stood up before the crowd. His speech was fiery and powerful, igniting a sense of unity in everyone. But the celebration didn't last. Sterling barged in with his heavily armed soldiers. Both sides knew that if a battle broke out, the casualties would be devastating. Yet surrendering now would mean losing everything they had built. Sterling demanded they surrender the medicine, but John's group refused. The standoff escalated until a sudden gunshot cracked inside the warehouse. Soldiers stormed in, and the warehouse became a battlefield. Amid the fighting, Jamie threw herself in front of a defenseless woman and begged the soldiers not to harm innocent people. Her pleas reached one soldier, who lowered his weapon. But just then, the woman Jamie had protected drew a hidden gun and shot him dead. That night, after the camp had gone quiet, Jamie quietly stole the RV keys and decided to escape with Alex. But as they prepared to leave, they were spotted by Andrew. The boy had just lost his mother, and she offered to take him along, but Andrew suddenly blew his whistle, alerting the entire camp. Panicked, Jamie started the RV and sped off, desperate to escape, but the vehicle broke down not far from the warehouse. Soon, John and his group caught up. John promised her that if she lowered her weapon, he would personally drive her and Alex anywhere they wanted. Jamie believed him, but before they could settle, a gunshot rang out. Bernie and others refused to accept John's decision. To them, an infected person was a walking death sentence, and Alex had to be killed before she spread the virus. Just then, Sterling reappeared with his soldiers. A bullet ripped into Alex's body and chaos exploded once again. Jamie dragged Alex into a nearby alley, but the noise had attracted a swarm of zombies. The creatures moved in close, but after a tense moment, they simply passed by, leaving the two women alive. Alex was about to lose consciousness, but just when it seemed the end was certain, the thundering blades of a helicopter cut through the night. Help had finally arrived, and Alex was saved in the nick of time. The fight between John and Sterling ended in tragedy. John was gravely injured and fell into a coma. Days later, Jamie and Alex finally returned home, the place that had once been filled with joy. Thanks to early detection and new vaccine, Alex's infection was cured. The nightmare was over, but it had transformed them both. Jamie had learned a painful truth. Never wait until the person you love most is gone before you learn to cherish them.